I'd say about 6 months ago, 7 months ago, it was actually higher. I was more around like 70, 80.
This is Declan O'Reilly. He built a business making $50,000 per month with his SaaS by selling AI systems to other businesses. Instead of thinking of a new idea and building a startup, he used already proven infrastructure to help small businesses scale. In this episode, we break down how he found the opportunity, how he packages AI for real businesses, how he gets clients, and what someone would need to do if they want to copy this exact model today. Declan, welcome to the channel. For people who don't know you yet, who are you and what do you do?
So I'm Declan, the GoHighLevel Wizard. Before I even jump into that, though, I want to let you know, thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate you very much. So essentially, I'm the GoHighLevel Wizard. I do a lot of stuff with GoHighLevel. I'm a SaaSpreneur by trade, meaning that I sell GoHighLevel software to local businesses. But then recently, I have migrated more into the affiliate side, which is essentially giving agencies GoHighLevel and stuff like that. But I still do both, and I'm also very tapped into AI. So that's kind of it.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's actually something that I see right now quite often. 2 or 3 years ago, it wasn't as popular as right now. So, like, how did you actually find an idea like this? Like, what made you pick GoHighLevel and go all in on that?
So this is actually a good question, is essentially what I did was I've been using HighLevel for a while now. This is to help local businesses basically grow on Google, get ranked #1, and, get more leads and whatnot. So I'd been using GoHighLevel for a while for my business. I also am a co-owner of a hair salon, so I use it for that as well. So I've been using HighLevel for businesses for a very long time. But what happened is all these agencies were reaching out to me like, dude, how do you get all these clients? Like, how do you do this? And naturally, it just kind of moved into me using HighLevel, then helping people with the affiliate. That's kind of how it all naturally progressed. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and was like, I want to do affiliate or I want to do this. It was all like a progression based on what people wanted. So to really answer your question, I started with HighLevel in that instance, but as HighLevel is updated and gotten better, like it's possibly the best AI powered software for businesses that I've been able to find at the, non-enterprise level. I mean, it's just amazing. That's that's my opinion, but I've also done and used so many other softwares that I just haven't seen anything like it.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you on that part. We're using also GoHighLevel within our agency, with our creative business as well. So you've said you started using GoHighLevel, but what was the tipping point in terms of where did you find GoHighLevel and how did you know that this is the software that you want to use, for example, for your hair salon, if that was the first time you actually saw it?
Yeah, good question, Tin. So essentially what ended up happening was, very simply, is I used to use a mix of softwares, the classic story in AI. I would be using WordPress for websites, ActiveCampaign for emails, Bright Local for citations, the list goes on, Hootsuite for social media, whatever. And it was kind of this Zapier monster. Now, the problem is that slowed down my scaling. That was the first thing, was way harder to scale. And number two, the problem that was really frustrating was that it was getting more and more expensive for software that wasn't working that well. So HighLevel, I'll be completely honest with you, HighLevel kind of sucked back in the day. It was not that good. And I tell people all the time, HighLevel was not what it is today. It actually used to be terrible. And again, it was because they were new. But once it started to get better, the reason why I started using it is because slowly but surely, I just canceled each tool and migrated to HighLevel. It wasn't like all in one. I switched. I was like, actually, HighLevel can do my citations. Cancel that. HighLevel can do my websites. Cancel that. And it was a slow move until I really had no other software but HighLevel. And the interesting thing is, Tin, is when you have everything in one place, scaling is way easier. Way easier. So then from there, because I had the SaaS configurator and I was selling SaaS and I had that SaaS configurator plan, I could just churn and burn clients so quickly. I could bring them in, automated the onboarding system, have, my VAs do the work, and I could just keep doing that again and again and again. And I only was able to unlock that scale through GoHighLevel. And I'm telling you guys, for everyone watching too, I have used every software possible. Trust me, I have tried it. Same with AI. And still to this day, for the price and ease of use, HighLevel is still the best. And again, I've used all the other ones. It's just, it becomes way too expensive or way too complicated too fast.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with your point of view. I think GoHighLevel started being good, especially good, like it was good over time, right? So obviously 3, 4, 5 years ago, it was not as good as right now. But when GoHighLevel added the AI stuff, it was like, that was game over, honestly. Like we're using a lot of the AI stuff within our own business as well. And I think that's essentially where GoHighLevel kind of like thrived even more. And to kind of get my context on the thing that you said, you also said that you started like using GoHighLevel with your like hair salon and stuff like that. Like, what is exactly that your kind of SaaS offer is? I guess what you're doing with your hair salon, you're also helping with your like other local businesses, right?
Yeah. So the hair salon's a tad bit different because I'm doing a lot of stuff for it. But my basic offer started as local SEO, okay, and some local service ads. That's what it started as, and basic CRM. That's what it started as. From there, it moved into AI voice agents because that's been the most powerful thing, especially as like a chat widget on the website. That's been crushing. And then obviously reputation management, which in my mind is kind of local SEO. They're kind of all blended into one. And that's what I really saw the most success with, because as an offer, if you have, let's say, I'm trying to think of a better way to put this. If you have the traffic part completed and then you have the back end fulfillment side complete, you can basically take care of a business altogether. So let me explain. So the traffic side would be, how does everyone get in? So that for me, for most businesses was local SEO, ranking the Google business profile, getting reviews, citations, getting that ranked enabled them to get way more leads. So that was the first thing checked. And if you had to throw in a website, sure. But from there, once they have a bunch of leads, their next problem is, how do they manage the leads? And with AI voice agents and AI chatbots, it made that process way easier. So that kind of is where my offer kind of started to blend into two, because it was a natural step in the cycle. And I actually recommend everyone that's working with local businesses, plumbers, HVAC, electricians, lawyers, if you can solve the traffic part, then solve the fulfillment or dealing. I mean, obviously you can't do a plumber's job, but dealing with the leads coming in, you pretty much solve all of their basic needs. And again, that's where the CRM comes in hand. But that, in my opinion, was the most sticky offer that I've experienced. And that's how I scaled. And for the hair salon, we just do a ton of stuff with reputation management, automations, stuff like that, email campaigns. And again, HighLevel just specializes in that. So I don't know if that answered your question, because it's that's a big sort of topic. It's just a lot of different shit with that.
Yeah. Honestly, it does, because at the end of the day, like GoHighLevel offers so many like features and stuff like that. But what you were saying is really true. Like most people, when they are in the business, they either struggle with ads, coming in, or they struggle with the like delivery. And delivery side is like 50% of the business. If we say that 50%, the other 50% is ads, right? Like the business side of things, most people, have a lot of struggle by delivering, like especially SEO, maybe review management, stuff like that. So I think GoHighLevel just makes it more easier to run a business, especially with the SaaS thing that you're doing, which is white labeling GoHighLevel. So I guess can you like talk more about the white label side of GoHighLevel and how that works?
Yeah, so this is actually a really interesting question, Tim, because a lot of people ask me this, like, should I white label, should I not? I honestly, as much as I love white labeling and I do it, I don't think you have to do it at this point. I think because a lot of what makes HighLevel powerful is what you build in it, not just the software by itself. So a lot of people think, if I just slap my name on it, my logo on it, it immediately becomes better. It's like most people are starting to know what HighLevel is. It's a huge software now. So it's more of like, what can you build within HighLevel? So you could almost not white label and just say, hey, I got this amazing snapshot for local businesses. Let's use it inside of one of my sub accounts. And I've done that partially, and I've seen great success with other people doing it. Now, if you are going to white label, again, making a software match your brand is not what makes it powerful. It's what you can do inside of said software. Now, to get more tactical, when using the SaaS configurator on HighLevel, which is the auto sub account creation, if you can have a standardized plan, let's say like a snapshot that has the right reputation management stuff, the right automation stuff, the website, et cetera, you can scale and onboard clients lightning fast, because all you need to kick that process off is your payment link. So once they sign up, they get the sub account, they get access. You can pretty much automate everything. So that is part of the white label side. And I think that's the part people need to focus on, is that SaaS configurator onboarding process with the sub accounts, as opposed to just slapping your logo on a software, which is what most people think is what's winning, but it's not. It's the features that come with the white label, if that makes sense. I know
Exactly.
but that's something I see all the time, Tim.
Yeah, no, exactly. I can kind of break it down for the audience as well. Like, what you're essentially selling is the ease of use, right? You're not selling just like the entire software, because as you said, like at this point, like most people know what GoHighLevel is. But if you can make it like automated in a sense where, they pay you, they go through the onboarding process, everything is automated, everything is effortless for them, then this, GoHighLevel becomes your main like delivery machine essentially. So, but yeah, like slapping a logo is just like a cherry on top, I would say, on that.
It totally is. But the problem is that people think that's the selling point. They think that I have this special software, look at me, but that's not it at all. And it really is those features. And it's actually really funny because I've coached thousands of people at this point on a high level and talked to thousands of business owners. And what I find so funny with this is so few agencies, again, there's a lot of people on high level, but so few of them actually utilize stuff like the SaaS configurator. It's shot, and even bigger. I know agencies that are past 10K a month. A lot of these agencies aren't even using the SaaS configurator to its full potential. And I think when you can dial that part in, that's where the white label or the $497 plan on high level becomes so powerful. But again, it's a lot of people just don't use that properly. And that's where stuff like really knowing high level makes it much better. Because a lot of people, again, they just get caught on the simple stuff. And if you're under 10K a month, absolutely do that. But when you want to scale more, you need to look into those systems and adding AI and all this other stuff. Which makes it
Exactly, yeah, because at the end of the day, that SaaS plan is a system. You're essentially installing a system within your business. So I guess we talked a lot about GoHighLevel and everything. Do you have like an ideal client that you're actually targeting, or are you targeting like all local businesses, or do you have like a specific like niche client, let's say?
Yeah, good question. For a while, it was law firms. I niched down the law firms, but with the AI voice agent, because it's so easy to duplicate and change the niche in seconds, I've been hitting everyone. Now, again, for running ads, that gets really tricky because, your copy gets weird when you're going after 5 different people. But from what I've been able to see, it's just been so easy to target everyone. That's the beauty of AI, I actually think, and AI services on high level, is they give you the ability to not be niche down. That's what I've experienced. Now, again, you should be niche down if you're running ads and trying to go on a higher level, but like I have seen time and time again, the ease of use of hitting multiple niches with the AI service, like the AI voice widget, putting on a website. It's so easy to change that from a plumber to an HVAC to a lawyer to a landscaper that it just gives you way more people to sell. So that's something that I would say is kind of where it's moving. But my ideal client was for a long time law firms, anywhere from 500,000 all the way up to about 5 million per year was the sweet spot for me. Because I noticed after they get past 5 million a year, what I ran to at law firms is most of it's just recruiting and managing. They already have enough leads. They now need ad campaigns and promos to get more lawyers, which is a completely different skill set, which I had done, but that was kind of the issue I ran with that. So that's kind of where that sweet spot was. And then when they're too small, it just wasn't good. So under 500,000, but that was like my ICP or whatever you want to call it. Ideal client avatar, or, there's a million names for this, but now it's mostly just service-based businesses that are a couple years in business, have some basic processes down and are ready to scale. That's kind of where
that makes sense. So I guess when we're talking about ICPs, like what would you recommend a beginner like who is doing like, let's say, the same thing as you, or who wants to do the same thing as you, like who would they target? Like what would you recommend to them? You mentioned under $500,000, over $500,000, I guess, in like for the client.
That was for me. I don't recommend people in the beginning to try to find an ideal client avatar, because you're not going to know it until you have experience. Like I can tell you what a good lawyer is, but you won't know until you go through it. Just like you have to go through shitty clients. You have to. You can't not, this is something that people try to bypass, but it's actually impossible because when you don't have experience, you're going to go through it automatically. So what I recommend for all beginners and anyone watching is get your reps in, understand how this process works, charging people money, recurring retainers, like get experience on your belt, because that will make you go way further than just constantly learning about shit. Because once you learn the basics and experience it, it's way easier to scale as opposed to just constantly thinking about, oh, how can I do it? So I would say for people beginning, anyone that has a business, again, you'll get better over time. You will find the right person, but you need experience to learn this. And a lot of people will spend all this time mapping people out and wasting all this time. You know what I'm saying? You've probably seen this before.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they don't even have a client yet. That's the wrong way to learn something. You know what I mean? You just, it's like riding a bike. You don't read books on riding bikes for hours. You just get on a bike.
Exactly.
It's the only way. So I run into this a lot because people just want to study, because the education system has told people that's how you learn, is just to read. There's part of it is that, but they just go, the more you read, the better you are. But no, you have to do it. So to answer your question fully, Tin, in the beginning, if you're a beginner, go after anyone that can take your business. And from there, you'll get it better and better.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think your advice is golden because like most people don't understand that, you know, they will have shitty clients, right? They will have to go through hell even at some point, you know, to get to that, you know, heaven, like where you're working with, you know, 10, 15 great clients. So that's like all a part of the process, I would say. So, yeah, like I really like this opportunity right now with GoHighLevel and white labeling GoHighLevel and literally like just using GoHighLevel, even if it's not white labeling. So why do you think this is such a big opportunity right now? I guess this is not just right now, it's almost for like a year or so, or like these couple of years, I would say. So yeah, why do you think this is such a good opportunity to get into right now?
So I think a big part of this is AI. So the AI voice widgets, if you don't believe me, you can go online, look up any niche in any location and click their websites, and you will not find very many at all any sort of AI integration. And I know from personal experience, the businesses we give the AI to and they start using it, get ahead way faster, like in every way. This has been my experience. So that right there is a huge unsaturated market. There's no one offering AI right now. They say they are, but it's just showing people how to use ChatGPT or something stupid like that. But like legit businesses that need AI right now, it's wide open. And that's why I have so many beginners I see landing clients using like self-selling AI demos and this kind of stuff, is because no one has it. It's new. It's like selling websites, Tin, when they first started. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't exist. Yeah. So what I always tell people is like, right now we are in one of those phases and it's going to last for about a year and a half. That's my guess. And obviously it'll be something new after that. But right now where AI integrations, especially AI agents to local businesses, is like brand new. We have a short runway where people can get in, potentially make really good money and sell way easier because it's new. And again, this has been my experience, my students' experience. We're just in that golden age. It's like buying Bitcoin when it was $10, or, you know, getting in on Netflix stock when it was whatever, 50 cents, or selling websites when the internet first started. We're in that phase. So yes, white labeling is part of that, but what I'm seeing as the biggest opportunity is using GoHighLevel's AI, which is connected to the CRM. They're all in one, and giving that to local businesses. That is going to be hands down the biggest opportunity. Because there's one other thing I actually want to say, Tim, that's really interesting. I don't know if you know this. Do you ever follow like Mark Zuckerberg or any of these guys? Bill Gates?
Yeah.
They're all saying, same with these big consulting companies, they're all saying Fortune 500 and enterprise level companies are struggling to adopt AI. They're saying it's really hard right now for them to do so. They're saying because they're too big, they have too many people, they can't just slap stuff in. But what they kept saying is for smaller businesses and local businesses, they can adopt it really easily and like 10x their workflow. So what I'm seeing is the real opportunity is with local businesses. And this isn't my opinion. This is what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing all the big people say. They're like, right now, AI for smaller companies is going to be the thing because it can give one-man shows or 2 or 3 man shows the ability to 10, 20x their output, which is like insane if you think about it. And that's what I'm seeing with GoHighLevel's AI. That's going to be the opportunity. I don't know what you think about that or if you've seen that, but that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, honestly, I this is the first time I've heard this point of view, like this, like kind of like a unique point of view, because it's definitely the truth. Because when you, like, let's say you implement AI and all of that, right? All of the things with AI, like conversation AI, you integrate, you know, voice AI, everything within a small business. That business is not just that one business owner. Let's say that one business owner has 2 or 3 employees. It becomes like a small business on steroids, basically. So yeah, that's definitely the truth. But I want to touch on something you said before. You said that this is going to be lasting around 1.5 years or so, and then something new is going to come. What do you think, like, what will be the next wave? I guess autonomous AI agents like, you know, Manus, like OpenClaw, it's right now popular. So I guess would GoHighLevel adopt the same thing, or what do you think? Where will that go?
So they currently are. They have an AI agent studio. It's basically the agents that can help do jobs for you. Everyone's going to start adopting that. That is going to be the future. Right now, it's mostly conversational AI. And I mean like AI that can talk and do leads, but it will go into the AI agents very soon. But here's what's really interesting. And this is something that I'm starting to see more and more. That I'm going to bet all my money on this because I've experienced this myself. But with AI, because AI is the next big thing, something really interesting is happening with it. Obviously, it's getting better and better, and you know, everyone's freaking out about it. But with more AI coming out, and I'll see if you can get this, but do you want to know what's happening at the same time as AI is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more powerful? I'll see if you can guess it.
Honestly, it's a lot of things, you know, happening at once. It's very difficult to like what do you mean in terms of like what? Maybe you can give me like a hint.
Something that is happening in response to AI. It's something that's happening that a lot of people are not noticing, that I've experienced before, and I'll bring up an example. If you don't have to guess it, but it's
for sure.
Yeah,
go on. I think you would be able to answer this. I cannot think of one thing.
I'll just tell you, because it's really important. This is actually probably the most important part of this video. I'm not even kidding you, because this is something that I'm spending all my time on. As AI gets bigger and bigger and more powerful, and the tool gets better, the restrictions on being able to bother people and reach out go up the same. So for example, AI cold calling, robocalling is illegal in the United States. And constantly, all these outreach methods and ways to the normal B2B business operations are getting more and more hammered with restrictions. Remember like A2P verification for text messages?
Yeah.
Back in the day, anyone could get a phone number on HighLevel and start messaging people. Now it's way harder, and they keep adding layers. So what I'm seeing, which is so interesting, is in this dawn of AI, the AI tools itself aren't even that great, because with the better they get, the harder it is on a basic level to start marketing it. Meaning attention is the most valuable resource, because AI is going to keep getting better. It's never going to not get better. But attention is going to get harder to get. And that's why when I tell people that are using my affiliate link, or anyone that watches my YouTube, they need to focus on having like a people they know, connecting with people, networking, building email lists, building things that they control of real humans, because that's where the money's going to be at. Because you're never going to be able to keep up with AI. It's going to get better every month. But I'm going to tell you right now, the easiest thing to do is focus on finding people, making business connections, because you can always just sell them the new and updated AI. It's a never-ending cycle, because what people think is happening is they're like, AI is just getting better and better, and these tools are going to get better and better, you know, which is true, but they're still struggling to make money with it. Because AI, I firmly believe this, will never fully be able to sell itself because of the restrictions. Because do you really want to be getting 27,000 cold calls a day? People wouldn't use their tools. There's all these things where they're gonna just cramp down on that. AI will be able to do stuff, but the ability to reach out is where the hard part is. And so many people are missing this, but I'm seeing it perfectly just go. It's following exactly as I said, because they're making more restrictions on A2P, more restrictions on cold calls, more restrictions on any sort of like cold DMing on social media. And this is all because AI can do it at scale. So I know that was a really long answer, but I say this because I see so many people going down that rabbit hole of strictly focusing on learning tech, when that's not where the money is. Because by the time you learn the tech, it's already going to be up here. There's going to be a new version, and you're going to have to keep learning while your clients are the ones that are not going to get it. So I don't know if that made sense at all, but that...
Yeah, it definitely made sense. About the restrictions, I think that's true. So you would have to kind of like dance around those restrictions, right? To kind of, adjust. And it makes sense, right? It definitely makes sense when it comes to restrictions. I mean, if you can message like 1,000 people in a day, right? That's a dangerous tool. Like that's a very dangerous tool. So I guess, restrictions is what happens when that happens. So
well, I think real quick, just one more thing I want to add just before I forget. It's still easy to get clients for the most part. It's just that bulk way of doing it where you can hit thousands of people is kind of going down. It's more going to be based on trust, which is, did this email opt in? Did this text message contact opt in? Were you allowed to message people? That's where it's going to get way more dialed, and that's where it's going to come down to like legit trust and proof. And I actually believe that with AI, so many scammers are going to disappear. I think a lot of them, because it's just going to change.
Oh, yeah. I think right now more than ever, like authenticity and being authentic is going to be, very important, right? Very important, because like obviously that was always important, but right now more than ever, because like people, when they're talking, let's say to a support agent or somewhere, they need to know, okay, is this actually a human or AI that I'm talking to, right? Because some of the times, right, AI can solve the problems, but most of the times people want that human touch, at least somewhere, right, at some point. So I guess that's true. And what I wanted to kind of touch on that is when you were talking about pop-ups and stuff like that, I wanted to ask you, how did you get your first few clients and how do you get clients today?
Yeah. So essentially what I tell every beginner and advanced person is that the way you get clients changes based on the level you're at. So if you're anywhere from 1 to 10K a month, what I recommend is you go after everybody. And the methods I recommend you use are basically like cold calling, networking, referral systems, walk-ins, direct mail, smaller email campaigns, stuff where it's very personal. I always recommend doing it because it's easier and it's faster. And it will teach you skills like basic sales stuff and the things to know before you jump into scaling. Once you have a basic process down and you're past 10K a month or around that, and you know who you're serving and you kind of get more stuff, I recommend narrowing it down either by niche or service and then running ads and doing bigger email marketing and stuff like that. But in the beginning, I always recommend the smaller stuff because people will immediately jump into running ads, but since they don't have a lot of other things dialed in, their ads don't work. And it costs a lot of money, which a lot of people don't have money. So I always recommend do the free stuff first and then slowly graduate once you're past that 10K and you have some money to play with to ads and stuff like that. That's what I've seen the most success with, and all the people that I've talked to, I've seen the most success with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like a lot of the things that you recommend, I guess for beginners is just about, volume as well, like especially at the start, and then, catching those first few clients. I guess right now, since you're kind of scaled to 50K a month with your white label SaaS, what does your like sales process look like? Do you want to scale further or like, and how does that look like?
Yeah, so I actually, I'd say about 7 months ago, was actually higher. I was more around like 70, 80. But what I noticed was it was getting too out of hand. I was serving way too many different people, which is good in an extent, but I was just missing the mark. I had a bunch of plumbers, a bunch of hair salons, a bunch of lawyers. So what I've done is I've kind of scaled back a tad. Obviously, my affiliate's moving a lot, so that's kind of taking a lot of my time. But I started getting more dialed into just doing stuff like AI voice agents and only local SEO. Nothing else, just really getting it more tight because my fulfillment started to lag a bit, because I was going after too many people. And it just, the way I was doing it, it started to get really messy, but it was also like my fulfillment went down. I wasn't getting people the results that I normally do. So I'm kind of bringing it back and trying to build a better foundation and then go from there. Just getting a couple services, because that is something that you live and you learn. I was growing way too fast, and I was like, this is actually not the right way to do, because people aren't getting as good as results as they did before. Which ultimately, like, I'm not going to get testimonials from that. People are going to leave unhappy. I don't want that. I want to actually grow the right way. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on. And I'm kind of rebuilding that aspect. And obviously, affiliate is jumping a lot too. So.
Yeah, that's also like majority of your income right now, I guess, right? The affiliate side.
Yeah, Philly's just been jumping a lot. It's
And
just
and
been
honestly, it makes sense, right? I mean, you kind of validated the thing with your own business, and then right now you're helping people with it. So it makes sense. It's such a great business model as well. I guess when you were talking right now about your clients and I guess like onboarding clients and making sure they're happy, like what happens after a client signs up? Let's say they go on your website, they sign up. What happens in the back end? I know you can show, but if you can kind of like describe what happens just so like people can understand how the process kind of looks like.
Yeah, so essentially when they come in, there'd be a payment page where once they pay, the SaaS configure and other stuff pretty much automates most of their process. They get user access, a bunch of other things. Once they're in there, I basically have tasks created inside of HighLevel. I've used other softwares like Monday.com and stuff to do this, but I'm kind of bringing it back to HighLevel. And from there, there's a snapshot already in there. And then my VAs come in and basically take care of the rest. So it's very simple. And then we have automated reports that go out and simple stuff like that. Before it was more messy. It was kind of like they would come on and then we tried to add more stuff, but now it's just really simple. That's part of going back, like I said, is creating an even better onboarding process where it's immediately focusing on like, okay, make sure they start having Google Business Profile posts going out, make sure all of their stuff with their GMB is connected to reputation management so we can start getting those automatic reviews with the automation. All of that stuff is kind of put into one sequence now as opposed to a couple. That's kind of what I'm rebuilding. But I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of the way it's going right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't really show the entire process, right? So this definitely answers the question. I was wondering, like, this is also something that probably a lot of beginners will have as a question. Like, at what point, like, or until what point can you scale alone with the white label SaaS? So let's say I'm alone, or let's say someone that is watching is also alone, he wants to start a white label SaaS. And like, what's the point where you started hiring people at? Is it at 10K a month? Is it at 20K a month? Or how does that work?
Yeah, that solely depends on what you're offering. And I think with AI, it's becoming easier and easier to do stuff alone, but it all comes down to your SOPs, your snapshots, how simple is your stuff, or using custom values, all these things that make your process and life easier. I think what a lot of people end up doing is they start hiring people for outreach first. So people to run ads, people to do something. That's where a lot of the ROI comes in. But once you have too many clients and you're like, okay, I can't do the fulfillment. That's where I think getting VAs or employees, people to start doing that makes sense. So that could be $5,000 a month, depending on how fast you're growing, or that could be $20,000 a month. I've seen it in multiple. Like I recently had a guy that made it to 15K a month and he just now started hiring people because his stuff was so simple. He didn't need to hire people, but it just depends on what you're offering.
Got it. Yeah, I guess that makes sense as well. It's individual, right? Like what was like your point? Like when did you started hiring? It was right at the beginning, or is it like later on after 10, 20K or whatever the kind of?
Mine was at like around 23K I did. Now I did have people help out. Like I hired people to help out with basic stuff, but once I got past that, that's when I really had to dial stuff in way more because I was losing clients because I wasn't doing the film, especially for the law firms. It was like I was doing bits and pieces of it, but it just got way too out of hand. So I'd set up the Google Business Profile, put out the posts, get citations going, optimize the whole thing, start getting them reviews, et cetera, et cetera. But what happened is I was bringing so many people in that I was losing track of people. And that's when I hired a VA, my first VA, to come in and go through each step and basically just set that stuff up. So not only did I not have to worry about it, but every single person was accounted for. And I also set up like a pipeline inside of HighLevel that tracked each of the stages. And we had like 2 stages dedicated towards onboarding, which helps tremendously. Because when I first started, I didn't have that. It was super fly by night, stuff kind of all over the place. So we kind of fixed that and it got more dialed, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people, like they started hiring people at the start because they're maybe lost, they're still learning. I think that's a mistake. Like most of the time you wanna make sure that you're learning, you wanna make sure that you're also failing and stuff like that, because most people, they hire something that is totally unnecessary at the start, like as you said, maybe outreach or something like that, and then they actually don't learn that thing that they should learn, and after they learn it, they can outsource it, right? I mean, the entire process. Now you can kind of go and outsource that to let's say VA, because like otherwise what are you going to outsource if you don't know your own system, right? So I think that's definitely a lesson right there. So I guess like we covered most of it, but like, what do you think, like, what are some mistakes, like you could like say top 5 mistakes that beginners should avoid when doing this type of model?
I think when beginners get in, if you really want to make money and that's your transparent goal, the best thing you can do for yourself is understand the basics and then spend all of your time prospecting, trying to find clients. Because the way you'll learn the software and AI better is by actually utilizing it. And you can only actually utilize it when you have a client. So work for free if you have to, find people, do whatever it takes to get your reps in. And that will always come through prospecting. And so many people I see that don't make money with this is because they do everything but prospecting. And all the people that I see that do well, including myself, they always heavily index in on prospecting because it's the thing that makes you money. And it's also the thing that makes you learn the software, which is kind of funny. It's like an opposite. But that's what I would say to beginners, because that's that one mistake I see them make time and time again. I'm telling you, like I've not even kidding you, Tin, I've talked to so many people at this point, and every single time, if I've ever talked to them face to face, I'm like, so what's your prospecting looking like? Because they're complaining. And they're like, well, you know, I do about an hour a week or, you know, whatever, something that's so minimal. And it's like, that's always the problem. Always. I never see people that prospect all the time that have a lot of problems. It's always that problem. And it's not fun. It's not fun, but it's what makes you money.
Exactly. It's very boring, actually. It's very boring, but that's what makes you money. But the thing is, like, GoHighLevel also has like a prospecting feature inside. So it's kind of like you pretty much have everything in one place. Why not, you know, use it and leverage it? So, you know,
they have all kinds of stuff at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think like most people don't even understand how powerful it is of a software. Like, obviously, you know, you are GoHighLevel affiliate. I'm GoHighLevel affiliate. You know, we're not just blatantly promoting GoHighLevel. It's not like a, you know, MLM scheme like people are saying online. It's an MLM scheme, but they don't understand how powerful this software actually is, like especially for running a business, operating a business within one roof, let's say, you know. So yeah, that's definitely, like, everything you said is a big lesson. I think most people don't do enough volume, and you know, they don't sign anything. So again, that's, I think, like the key point here. But what do you think, like, where is this market going to go within the next, let's say, 5 years? What do you think? Like, it's very interesting to see. I know AI is literally, like, you know, growing so fast and changing so fast. I guess you cannot, like, half of you is probably, I cannot answer this question right now because it's moving so fast. But yeah, I'm curious to know.
It's actually funny that you asked this because this is a question that I think about all the time. I'm like, is AI just going to take over everything? And it probably will down the road. It probably will. But I think, again, it's going to come down to trust, because as tools get better, okay, the restrictions go up. It's just the way this story rhymes always. It's just history. Another thing too, Tim, that I've noticed, which is really funny too, is that good tools have been around forever. Like, even if you take like 5-10 years ago, the fact that you could get a Google business profile, get some reviews on it, and rank it relatively easily and make a bunch of extra money for a business is insane. Because what's crazy is at the end of the day, a bunch of businesses still don't do it. Yeah. So it's like, even though the tools are great, people still don't have it. There's still businesses that don't have websites. So it's like, I think people often think that AI is immediately just going to take over all this stuff. It's going to be much slower than people think. I do think it has the power to do that, but it's just a much slower progression. It's not the speed I think people think.
Exactly. And the thing that you just said, like, a lot of people don't have websites, and websites are here for, like, you know, 20 years or so, right? Yeah. So it's like, then, you know, what happens is AI progresses. AI is here for, let's say, 10 years, and still some people don't use AI. Like, so I think a lot of people, when they are taking a look at GoHighLevel, they are like, I've heard this from a couple of people, like, why would I sell like review management to like businesses? That's too basic. But that's what's basic to you. It's not basic to other businesses, right? I mean, as I said, like, businesses don't have websites. Most of them don't use AI right now. You know, some of them don't have review management in place. They don't actually know that there are softwares out there that can literally skyrocket their business, but they actually don't know how to set them up. So you're here pretty much set them up for them.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. There's always going to be a middleman because of the restrictions. So that's what I see it going, and that's kind of where I'm hedging my bets.
Yeah,
but again, no one will ever know the truth until it happens.
Exactly. Honestly, I didn't know that OpenClaw is going to be right now so popular. So everything is like, but I think a lot of it is just like noise. So you should like literally like just remove the noise and focus on what you want to sell and what you want to kind of, help businesses with, and then you can adapt as time goes on. I think with local businesses and small businesses, it's always going to be bigger gap in between them not knowing AI and them knowing AI, right? I guess there are probably 0.5% of businesses in US and worldwide that know AI and that are integrating AI actively. So it's like, it makes sense to use like something like GoHighLevel for that. So yeah, I guess like if someone is watching this and someone wants to build a real business around AI, like just like talking, or instead of just like talking about AI online, right? What would your advice be to them? I know we said a lot of advice like in this particular like interview, but if you had like one universal advice that you could share with audience, that would be, universal like for them. So yeah.
If I had one piece of advice, I'm going to stick with the prospecting. I think come in here, find someone to learn from, whether it be you, me, or someone on YouTube. Find someone where you watch their videos, you understand what's going on, get a prospecting strategy, and then do it like your life depends on it. I'm telling you, it's the simplest method. It's not easy, but it's the simplest method to make money. People just overlook it because they constantly looking for the next shiny object. When in reality, if they just focus on going in, getting a basic strategy and just 10xing the strategy, they'll be golden. Like I'm telling you, I see it time and time again. That's all they need to do.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's the lifeblood of a business. Like, doing outreach, doing prospecting, doing ads, obviously ads, coming in later after you scaled. I think honestly, that's a key, and it's a no BS advice. It's an advice that is not fancy. It's not sexy, right? A lot of people will say, oh, but that's basic. But basic is what scales, right? That's at the end of the day, people are like too many people are focusing on the wrong stuff. Like, where is AI going to go? I should, adopt everything right now. Just, do it step by step. It's at the end of the day, we're all humans. So
yeah, Alex Ramosi had this great line. He said, being advanced means you never don't do the basics.
Exactly. Yeah. Alex has some great quotes. I like the quote about, you had a quote in your bio, about the volume. I like that quote a lot. Like, I think volume, especially within my business and your business, you did volume, I also did volume, and at the end of the day, like if you do so much volume, there's no way you won't succeed, as Alex Hormozi said. So it's the same thing, So yeah, like Declan, I really like everything that you said. I really like how you set up your business and everything. Appreciate your time. Where can like my audience find you if they wanna maybe watch some of your content or anything like that?
So if they want to go and watch my content, I recommend everyone to just go to my YouTube channel. I don't really have other socials that I'm super active on. It's mainly YouTube, and it will just be GHL Wizard. You can type in GHL Wizard, you'll find me. I wear the robes, as you know. You can't miss me. It's there. But I would just go and check out my stuff. I got a lot of free resources too. I actually mostly give everything away for free. So regardless of who you are, I can help you out because almost everything I give away is completely free. And it's on that channel. You don't even have to sign up with my affiliate with most of this stuff. So, and I'm one of the only people that does that. So I'm really here to help the entire GoHighLevel community, not just a couple people who want to get started, anyone that's already using it. So
for sure, I think like no one can literally miss this guy. I mean, he's wearing a robe, a Versace robe. He's helping people make money. So yeah, it's a win-win situation right there. So yeah, thank you again, Declan, and yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Yep, thank you so much for having me.